Hey everyone, welcome back. So if you're the kind of person who loves to really peel back the layers and get straight to the absolute core of how things are built, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today's explainer is something incredibly special. We're putting a magnifying glass up to a digital artifact that is seemingly mundane, something you probably glance past without a second thought. But structurally, it is profoundly dense. We're going to deconstruct just 9 simple words from our source material and reveal the massive architectural framework hiding right in front of your eyes. Okay, let's dive right into this.
All right, part 1, the digital gateway. We're looking at this as an architectural threshold.
So I want us to frame the interface we're analyzing today not just as, a glowing screen, but as a literal physical doorway. We walk through these digital doors every single day without really checking the frames or the locks, right? Well, take a look at our raw, unformatted source text in all its stark, minimalist glory. Instagram, log in, sign up. Copyright 2026 Instagram from Meta. Let the sheer simplicity of it just kind of wash over you for a second. We're going to completely dissect exactly what's happening in this super tight 9-word string. Because honestly, it represents a massive universe of identity, time, and corporate structure all squished down into a single line of code.
Moving right into Section 2, the binary choice. Let's look at this structural fork in the road.
Okay, so the very first thing this text actually does is force an interaction. It doesn't casually ask how you're doing today. No, it immediately crams human identity into this absolute binary choice. On one side, you've got log in, representing the established path. Logging in means you've got a history here, right? You're a known entity with a digital footprint. But then, on the exact opposite side, sign up demands a total blank slate. It asks this really profound question. What does it actually mean to be forced into such a rigid classification the literal second you arrive? You are either already part of the system, or you absolutely must surrender your data to join it. There's no room for just being a neutral observer.
And you can see how this builds into a super rigid procedural logic. Think about it. You arrive at this gateway named Instagram, and bam, you are immediately hit with the choice, log in or sign up. You literally cannot proceed past this point. You can't see the photos, you can't interact with the community, not until you make a definitive declaration of your digital status. It's basically acting like a digital bouncer at a club, demanding to see your credentials before you can even peek inside the door.
All right, Section 3, the 2026 temporal anomaly.
So once we actually make that choice, this digital artifact shifts from being just a functional doorway into something entirely more fascinating. Look at the copyright date. It points squarely into the future 2026. It immediately creates this wild sense of intrigue, doesn't it? Like, are we viewing a document sent back from the future? Or, probably more likely, are we looking at a ridiculously bold, forward-looking statement of long-term existence? The platform isn't just existing today, it's already staking a flag in the ground, years ahead of our current reality.
Let's break that down a bit more. When you pair the copyright symbol with this future date, it acts as a marker of a temporal claim. It is, literally, digital ownership over future time. The crazy thing here is that this isn't just about protecting a piece of code written in the past, it's this fascinating mechanism for a corporation to project its authority forward. They're essentially claiming legal ownership of a year that hasn't even happened yet. It's the digital equivalent of calling dibs on the future. Absolutely wild when you think about it.
And just look at exactly how it's phrased. Copyright 2026 Instagram. This brilliantly illustrates how the artifact firmly anchors this specific platform identity, Instagram, to that looming temporal milestone. It's telling you, the user, that no matter what happens in the world between now and then, this gateway is going to remain. The brand and the future itself are presented as intrinsically linked, completely inevitable, and heavily legally protected.
Which brings us to Section 4, the meta monolith. We're talking ultimate ownership here.
This brings us to the final 3 words of our source text, which completely deconstruct the overarching reality of this entire artifact. Notice the sudden, massive shift in structural hierarchy here. We started with Instagram, the friendly, familiar, colorful gateway. But then, that little phrase from Meta proves that this initial gateway is ultimately subordinate to a massive enclosing entity. Instagram isn't some independent, standalone universe. Actually, scratch that. It's more like it's merely one room inside a much, much larger corporate fortress.
So let's look at the brilliant architectural flow contained in just these 9 words. First, it establishes the platform, the friendly face of Instagram. Then it immediately demands user action through that rigid binary of log in or sign up. Next, it makes this bold temporal claim, legally planting its flag in the year 2026. And finally, it reveals the ultimate owner, wrapping the whole shebang up under the giant umbrella of Meta. It's a completely self-contained narrative and is delivered to you in mere seconds.
Those final two words, from Meta, basically act as the ultimate source and structural enclosure of this entire interface. They retroactively reframe literally everything you just read. You're not just logging into a fun little photo app anymore, you are submitting your binary choice to a monolith that has literally already laid claim to the future.
So I want you to take one more look at our original source text. Instagram, log in, sign up, copyright 2026 Instagram from Meta. After our time together today, look at how these 9 simple words now carry this massive, undeniable weight. They're no longer just a digital welcome mat. They're a statement of identity, categorization, a legal claim over future time, and a stark reminder of overarching corporate structure. I mean, it is just brilliantly efficient design.
Which leaves us with one final, kind of lingering thought to ponder as you step away from this explainer today. We've seen the doorway, we've analyzed the locks, the legal claims, and we even met the landlord who owns the whole building. But looking at that future timestamp, you really have to ask yourself, what exactly awaits the user on the other side of login in the year 2026? Keep questioning those gateways you walk through every single day, guys. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep your curiosity focused. Catch you next time.